republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mr. Alt?
Here.
Mr. Beistel?
Here.
Mr. Benz? Mr. Carson?
Here.
Mr. Fry?
Here.
Mr. Polakowski?
Here.
Mrs. Rhodes? Here. Mrs. Smith? Here. Mrs. Love?
Here.
Kaylee Whitlash? Here. Dylan Opolinsky?
Citizens' comments.
I have no comments.
Reorganization, temporary chairperson.
The board is asked to appoint a board member as temporary chairperson for the purpose of reorganization.
Can I have a motion
Nominate.
or a nomination?
I'd like to nominate Gail Rhodes as a temporary chairperson.
All in favor, or do we have to do a voice vote?
Yes,
Ask for if there are any others.
Any others?
Ask for voice vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Do I have to take my plate with me? Yeah. Okay. Are we ready?
Election of president for a term of 1 year. I will now take nominations for president.
I nominate Mrs. Love. I'll second that.
You don't need a second.
Do we have any other nominees?
Ask 3 times.
Do we have any other nominees? Do we have any other nominees?
Motion to close nominations.
We need a motion to close nominations.
I'll make a motion that we close nominations for president.
Second.
Voice vote.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Mrs. Love.
I can go to this point. Got one person. Ask for a motion to instruct the secretary to cast the unanimous ballot.
Okay, we'll ask the secretary to call for, what was that again, Dave?
Ask for a motion to instruct the secretary to cast the unanimous
Okay.
ballot.
Okay, I need a motion for the secretary to cast a unanimous ballot for Mrs. Love for president for 1 year.
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Polakowski, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Smith? Okay.
Just ask for a vote. Wait, all in favor?
All in favor, please signify by saying yeah, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Now it's official. Okay, now it's official. Mrs. Lowe.
Election of vice president for a term of 1 year.
Only Gail Rhodes.
Coverage. Any others? Any others? Any others?
I'll make a motion that we close nominations for vice president.
Second? Mr. Beistel?
All in favor to close?
All in favor to close?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to cast
Instruct
a...
the secretary to cast a unanimous ballot for Mrs. Rhodes for vice president.
Need a motion to instruct the secretary to cast a unanimous ballot for Gail Rhodes for vice president for a period of 1 year. That's a lot.
I'll make a motion.
Second? All in favor? Opposed?
And she's elected.
Election of board treasurer for a term of 1 year.
You don't, we do that in May.
It's done in May.
It was
It's
on
a July
here, so-
1st to June 30th appointment.
Okay.
Legislative chairperson. Our current one is Gail, right? Our current legislative chairperson is Gail.
I'd like to nominate Gail Rhodes.
Second.
Second.
Wait, any others? No.
Ask for any other.
Any others? Any others? Any others?
Motion to close nomination.
Motion to close nominations.
Make the motion.
Second. Mr. Beistel, all in favor? Opposed? Do we have to do the unanimous ballot?
Motion to instruct the secretary to cast unanimous ballot for Mrs. Rhodes for legislative chairperson for a period of 1 year.
I'd like to get a motion for that. We need a motion for,
Mrs. Smith.
oh, you made the motion? Mrs. Smith, second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Polakowski, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Election of PSBA liaison. Our current liaison is Mrs. Rhodes. Anyone? Nomination?
You want to keep it, Gail?
I'll keep it.
Okay, I'll nominate you. Second.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations?
Make a motion that we close nominations for PSBA.
Second?
Second.
Did you get it, Mr. Fry? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I need a motion for,
To instruct the secretary to cast a unanimous ballot for Mrs. Rhodes for PSBA liaison for a period of 1 year.
that motion.
Yeah, what he said.
Yeah.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? WIU representative. I currently hold that position, but I am now working and can no longer attend the meetings, so that's going to need to be filled by someone other than myself.
I nominate Mrs. Smith.
It's the fourth Tuesday, and you go up to Greensburg. We need a second.
Second.
All in favor? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations?
Make a motion that we close the WIU representative.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed?
What he said.
Motion to cast unanimous ballot for Mrs. Smith for WIU representative for a period of 1 year.
Yeah, what he said.
Okay, second?
He said second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Board meeting calendar.
It is recommended that the monthly planning sessions of the Southmoreland Board of Education and the monthly regular business sessions of the Southmoreland Board of Education be held each month during 2019 with option A or B, and I will explain those in a second. In the Southmoreland Middle School, 200 Scotty Way, Scottsdale, PA, and that the secretary is authorized and directed to give public notice, including advertising to schedule public meetings not less than 3 days before the first meeting. And I have presented two options. Option A, I thought I would just throw this out for the board's consideration, that we start at 6:30 with the executive session, and that lasts till 7:30, and then we start at 7:30 for the regular board meeting and progress through completion. Or option B, I just left it as the way it currently is. So I threw two options out there, and then Mr. Petonic has also included some additional information concerning possible dates for budget. So I'll turn that over to Mr. Petonic.
You could do this tonight, or you could do it next week if you weren't ready. Or, I mean, on the 13th at the December business meeting. The two columns, the dates are the same for what has been proposed, and I'm not taking a position on the starting time. I'm pointing out that in the far right-hand column are dates that are important when you would likely need extra meetings or have definite meetings related to the budget. And that would be either to receive the proposed preliminary budget on January 17th, and then you could vote to post that budget on either the 24th or the 31st. So in order to avoid having an extra meeting on the 31st, and in order to allow a final meeting on February 14th, which fits really nicely, and I'll explain that in a minute, I'm recommending January 24th as the voting meeting. So that would be an extra meeting in the month of January. In the month of February, I'm recommending that the 14th, which is a planning meeting, be the meeting to adopt the Act 1 preliminary budget or vote it down. Well, you couldn't vote it down. You're going to have one because the 24th becomes the final date for either posting the draft preliminary budget or opting out. If you don't make up your mind that night, you could still go to the 31st to opt out. But, the more efficient thing to do would be to just have that meeting on the 24th. The advantage of February 14th is that it is a couple of days, it's a Thursday meeting, so you're already normally here, and it is a few days after the governor is statutorily mandated to present his budget to the legislature. I don't know if you would have a complete breakdown of what his plan would mean for you, but usually within, maybe Mr. Morrell could indicate, a few days after that, you usually get some indication.
You do, yes.
And that would, that doesn't mean you're going to get it, but it at least would give you some idea in the event that you want some numbers to latch on to. The month of March, it's possible to actually not have to need meetings, but if you decide to exceed the index, there would be information coming back from the Pennsylvania Department of Education, and there would be a deadline to decide whether or not to go to the referendum by notifying the county officials of your referendum question. So you could possibly wait until February to decide whether or not you need those March dates. April 25th is more of a deadline for informational purposes for you. That's also going to be a meeting date, but you'd need some advance work before you got to that point. But I am definitely, as I indicated back when we began this process, that you set June 27th as your final budget adoption date, which is a Thursday, and it's the last Thursday in June. So you're following your past practice there. Because in figuring out doing different things, both related to the budget and indirectly related to the budget, you really need to know that date so that you get your other things done in time. And that would mean May 23rd is the last Thursday after the primary. It's right after the primary, and it's the last possible Thursday that you could have to post the proposed final budget. So those two May dates and the January dates I'm recommending that you include as part of your option A or option B at this point. I just realized this, at the very bottom of the page, if you want to plan way ahead, it's not so much that you would adopt December 12th, because I think that would be the new board's prerogative, but sort of maybe pencil in that maybe you're going to need a business meeting next December 12th to start that early budget process. I mean, to get going with stuff related to that, and to separate your monthly business meeting from the reorganization meeting, if that's found to be desirable. So you do need to decide tonight whether or not you want December 2nd to be next year just be the reorganization meeting, or it'll also be a business meeting. Questions?
I wouldn't even add this on the calendar yet. Do you guys have any input on doing your executive session ahead of the meeting?
I don't mind that idea, but one of the things that I would consider is, since the executive session is supposed to be limited in issue and limited overall as an occasional thing and not necessarily an every meeting type thing, 6:30 would be good, and I think it should be worded to follow the regular meeting to follow immediately.
Follow immediately.
I think leaving an hour a lot of times is going to leave too much wasted time.
I'm okay with that too.
I don't think you ought to do
I
that.
think you have to have a stated time for the regular meeting. I'd be concerned about that, because the public doesn't attend the executive session.
Just put down the meeting to start at 7, and if we're a little late, then we're a little late.
Okay.
No, that would keep us on track.
Yes.
So just so we would have executive session from 6:30 to 7, regular meeting starting at 7 o'clock then.
Right.
I suppose if you truly needed more time, you could still have a break during the regular meeting. It's not illegal to do that.
Couldn't we start our executive session earlier if we knew that there was a lot on the agenda for personnel? Instead of starting it at 6:30, we could say, be here at 6. Are we allowed to do that, Dave?
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah,
That
because
way
it's
we
not.
can still start at 7.
You have to notify everybody.
Everyone on the board, or does that have to be public?
No, because it's just an
On the board.
executive.
On the board?
Yeah, that's how they do it at the IU. So if it's, going to be...
You would announce the fact that you started earlier than at the public meeting.
I like that idea. I'm fine with starting at 7:30 too. I mean, it doesn't matter 7 or 7:30.
What's the benefit of doing this? Getting it out a little earlier at the end of the night? I'm going to shave time on the meeting.
Well, I think that coming into the meeting already knowing what we're,
Many times it interrupts the continuity of the meeting if we go recess to executive session. And I think it would help the flow of it.
Is everything done like it's supposed to?
I know a lot of school boards do that.
I mean, I just don't want to, if someone's coming, I hate, going, any appointment you have in life, it's late, you're waiting for a doctor, an attorney, you're waiting for somebody. If we start running late, people are waiting, it's just kind of ignorant to, we're just back here gabbing about things, and the meeting runs late. It's just not fair to the public, but I'm fine with with that if it's going to help things run smoother.
I think, I'm sorry, go ahead.
What I was going to say is, we can always start off like this, and if we find that it's not working for us, why can't we revisit it? And say, this isn't working, or, we have too much time, or we don't have enough time. We could go with this, and if it doesn't, we can come back and look at it at another time if it's not working for us. That's what I...
You just need a motion for exactly what they're asking.
Okay, so we need a motion, if we're all in agreement to try it, we need a motion to adopt option A with a starting time of 6:30 and a meeting start, like a general meeting starting time at 7.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. And she'll second it.
The only question I have, if we have more on the agenda, can we start earlier for an executive session?
Yes,
Yes.
yeah, we can start a little bit sooner.
That way you're not going to run your
Right.
regular meeting and...
Does that present a problem with anybody's work schedule?
It depends for me. I mean, there's times I can't make 6:30 I'm usually good for. 6.
The only
It just
thing
depends
is,
how close I am.
if we don't have a lot on the agenda, we can start at 6:30 in the executive session.
Right.
But you don't need to worry about work.
Hey, I got to just start a new job.
We start at 6 at CWCTC, our executive session, and I just get there when I get there. I mean, they don't wait for me, and I'm fine with that. I just go in and catch up while I'm there. So,
Voice vote or roll call?
You can do a voice vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Do you want these added?
Do you want,
Is anyone opposed to adding the additional meeting times that, I'm sorry, that Mr. Botonic has included?
do you want to, do we want to set them in stone, or do we want to wait and see if we've,
What would you recommend, Mr. Botonic?
Well, either tonight or at your next meeting in December, I think you should do it.
Just do it now, dear.
Is that a motion?
Okay, I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
okay, we're adding on the Act 1 and budget deadline meetings, which,
January 17th, January 24th, Thursday, February 14th. May 23rd as the proposed posting of the final budget, and June 27th is the final budget meeting. So those May and June meetings, and the January 24th are actually extra meetings. And Thursday, February 14th, you're setting as your target if you do a preliminary budget.
is everybody okay with that?
What was the motion?
That we're
Yeah, it
going
does.
we're going to add the Act 1 and budget deadline meetings. And most of them, only 3 of them don't fall on a regular meeting night.
Gail made a motion, you need a second.
We need a second.
I seconded it.
Wait, all in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Minutes? Newspaper of general circulation.
It is recommended that the board designate the Daily Courier, whose office is located at 127-129 Apple Street, Connellsville, PA, as the daily newspaper of general circulation, in which district legal advertisements will be placed in accordance with Section 10 of the Public School Code and School District Policy Guide Number 5.
Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yep.
Roll call?
Mr. Alt?
Yes.
Mr. Beistel?
Yes.
Mr. Carson?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Mrs. Love?
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith? Motion carries.
I think you should do this
One
as your regular business
absent.
on the 13th. That's normally part of the business. It doesn't matter.
We're not approving them, are we,
I
right
think
now?
do that on the 13th. It's part of your regular business.
How about the finance reports too? Just
You can do that because you originally wanted to get that information. You're not voting on anything.
so we can approve those.
You're going to ask for the finance report, or not approve it, but
I'll
I think
ask
you were
for
going to ask for that financial information from Mr. Marnell. Was that it?
Yeah, he already set the, Jim,
Yes, sir.
are you prepared to give any indication of our financial status?
What's that?
Financial information.
to give
On the upcoming budget, no, I don't have any update for the 1920 budget.
Okay.
We're working on it. That's about it.
Okay, so we don't have that.
Is that on the agenda?
Well, it's kind of in between stuff. So you're going to get an executive session now? Or
do have one- I
do you
do
want
have
the
one
reports
thing
from
on
the
the
students?
Students report, and I have one thing under.
Reports, student reports?
Student council members volunteered to be a buddy to special needs students at Buddy Day this year at Twin Lakes Park in October. Approximately 80 students attended for both student council and school-wide. Also, student council students were able to volunteer with the elementary's Breakfast with Santa event yesterday, December 2nd. They are also planning their annual Deck It Up event to raise money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation on December 21st.
The high school's quiz bowl team placed second in the competition on November 14th.
The Southmoreland High School choral concert will be tomorrow, December 4th, at 7 p.m. in the auditorium.
The Southmoreland High School holiday dance will be held on December 15th from 6 to 9 p.m.
Keystone Test Day will be tomorrow, December 4th, and Wednesday, I think, with the literature. And biology will be December 6th and 7th.
Thank you. Superintendent report?
I just have one article. I received a letter from the Borough of Scottsdale. They are requesting the board to either attend their meeting on December 10th in the council chambers or to issue a letter of support. And what they're asking, they would like to become a CLG, which is a certified local government, which is it's a program which is a nationwide initiative providing technical assistance and small grants to local governments. So they're just asking if we would support their efforts along this line. So, and I'm going to try to attend the meeting, but they are asking if the board would consider either the board members attending the meeting and vocalizing their support or issuing a letter of support along those lines.
Is that all? Okay. Motion to adjourn to executive session for personnel?
Just before we go, any updates with Mr. Hess?
Yes, we're going to have some.
For the business meeting next week. There's the 13th, yeah.
Motion to Mrs. Rhodes, second?
Second.
Mr. Fry, all in favor? Opposed?
Are we coming back?
No.
What about the personnel? Or we'll just
We're-
talk about them back?
Yeah.